Thanks for the support as a channel member, Austin Hartman. Like I keep telling you, you can't keep saying well done for getting knocked out in the first round of the Champions League. Yes, I know it is cool that we did the domestic double again. It's really cool that we finally had an invincible season as well. That stuff's all great, but I need you to stop being satisfied with failing in the Champions League, because then you'll give me the money to go and win the thing. Like 60 million? Hello and welcome to part 107 of the Greek Odyssey. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special for what has again been a very successful season. As you can see, we finished unbeaten in the league for the first time. Here is your confirmation. Apollon finished unbeaten in the season. It doesn't say for the first time. It was the first time we've done it there. We won 34 of our 36 games, including an absolutely delicious last day of the season 6-0 away win against Olympiacos. An absolute thing of beauty. It does, having those kind of runs, it does cheer me up after the Champions League disappointments. But we've had enough of Champions League disappointments. This is the year we put together a team that is gonna win the Champions League. Maybe. Dynamics wise, we've got a couple of players who are still a little bit grumpy. Everyone else has pretty much calmed down. Robert Font wants to start more games. That's fine. We can deal with that next season. But these guys, I think I probably am going to sell Dominguez and Jair and use them. And I know I said this last year and then didn't do it. I genuinely think the right thing to do is to use them to fund Damien. Damien is 28 years old now. If there's ever going to be a time to bring him back, it is now. And I just feel like that's what we need to do to go and win everything. We need Damien back. How is he? I mean, according to this, he's not as good as Carnevale or Richard. But then I look at this and say, oh, to be fair, he's not had a great season. Maybe this is the time to get him on the cheap. Maybe it's a bad plan. We'll see how it does. I'll change my mind 3 times before we get to the point where we've got any money to spend anyway. And there's Carnevale saying, well done, Kev, for doing an unbeaten season. My response back to you, Domenico Carnevale, is I'm fed up here. Go and play for Juventus now. If I can get 80 million for him, I'll be delighted. If I can get 40, I'd be delighted. But don't tell Juventus that. Our end of season awards. Why are we getting the end of season awards before the team of the year stuff? This is all happening the wrong way around. Are we not having a team of the year this year? We don't have a team of the year this year. Yes, we do, because that's there, isn't it? It's not the team of the year I'm looking for. It's the all-time best 11. Does that mean nobody? I guess that means nobody made it into the all-time best 11. That's the first time in the series no one new has been added to the all-time best 11. So player of the year was Robert Font. So this guy, I mean, he's the reason we could let Dominguez and Duffy go, because we've got Font, we've got Leica, we've got Brewman. If Duffy's now signed a new contract, he's on a new 5-year deal. I did let him back into the team as the season went on. I think Duffy's probably in for life at this point. We'll let Dominguez go, and Duffy can be the, you're telling me, Duffy can be the guy who helps develop Font and Leica and Brewman, who are, I think all 3 of them are 22 years old. So it is time for Dominguez to move on if he's now the one who doesn't want to be here. Solorzano got 2nd place, Sanchez 3rd. Goal of the season was Sonny in that 6-0 win on the last day of the season. He got a hat-trick in this game. Sonny is getting better and better as the season went on, and he is really starting to look like a real top-tier striker. So here he is picking the ball up in our half and just running. He's just so quick, and what a finish. What a player Sonny is. And also, one of the most exciting things, he's still only 20 years old, already 4.5-star current ability, potential to continue to improve, and he's now homegrown at club. I don't really know how, because he spent a season, or I guess he only spent half a season. No, he did spend a full season out on loan. So we signed him in the January. So that's half a year. Then he wasn't here for that year. So he's done 2.5 years actually at Apollon, but somehow that qualified him as homegrown. I guess because he was going to get there anyway. He turns 21 in August. I'm not going to argue with how it happened. I just don't think he met the criteria. But Sonny is now homegrown at club. So that's cool. Font gets signing of the season, as you would expect from a new signing who became player of the season, and also young player of the year because he's only 22. Robert Font was a good signing. He was a surprise from past Kev in last summer's transfer special. I hope there's some goodies like Robert Font again this year, or I don't think there is. Our team of the year was Tanesi in goal, A back four of Kansarovic, Hernandez, Bilbao and Solorzano. Milo at the base of the midfield. Dominguez and Font in central midfield. And then a front three of Sanchez, Richard and Pedraza. And as everyone, and I mean everyone, has pointed out to me in the comments over the last couple of episodes, I never once played that team in the Champions League. And that might be where I'm going wrong. Top goal scorer, inexplicably, was Carnevali on 17 goals. He's good domestically. And he scores a goal a game internationally as well. But he just doesn't show up in those big Champions League games, does he? Highest average rating was Milo, as usual. Milo is now 27 years old. I think he's now a year away from becoming Greek. Just over a year from his Greek passport. So he's another one, similar to what I've just said with Duffy. I think Milo is another one who, at this stage of his career, is probably in for life, unless someone comes in and makes a big offer for him. Most assists was Sanchez. Salakis, best pass completion. Sanchez, most man of the matches. And then Solorzano and Kansarovic are the naughty boys club. Season review. Mrs Wearmouth's happy because we won everything apart from the thing she doesn't seem interested in us winning, which is baffling. There's confirmation of our team of 2019 and what they're up to. A few of them still playing. Luris is still playing, now 30 years old, never did get to play for Greece, has made it back to Greece, playing for Giannina and Chania, found his level at the level we were at, really, in League Two. He had a couple of seasons playing in the top flight for us, but otherwise he's very much a Super League Two player and seems to have carved out a half-decent career, so lovely stuff from him. People always ask about Halilaj as well. Halilaj is now a scout, a terrible scout, but he was never any good either. Although, I mean, he had a decent career as a squad player in Super League One, but he never made it past that one Albanian cap that he got when we were down in the Super League Two, and we were all excited because he was our first wonder kid, and he wasn't a wonder kid. So, Club Vision stuff. What's Mrs Wearmouth looking for? Anything new? Oh! She listened. The minimum expectation for next season's Champions League from Mrs Wearmouth is the semi-finals. She's had enough of me faffing about. Semi-finals, I mean, genuinely, this is now I could get sacked territory if I don't achieve that. I don't think I would. I think I'd have to miss it for a number of seasons in a row for that to actually be an issue. But if we continue to flop in the Champions League the way we have been, it is going to potentially start being a problem, which I'm on board with. I wanted the pressure from Mrs Wearmouth, and hopefully, if she's asking me for a Champions League semi-final, like I said to her in the intro, if she's asking for a Champions League semi-final, she better be backing me financially and giving me the money to go and get a Champions League semi-final. We'll find out if she's doing that in a second. Our team leaders are Kansarovic, Duffy and Milo, who are all likely to still be here next season, so we don't need to worry too much about our already excellent dynamics. Plans for next season is to win the league. Plan for next season is always to win the league. And end of season break, all that kind of stuff. Come on, Mrs Wearmouth, don't let me down with these budgets. Give me £60 million. That's what is that? I mean, I'm upset by two things there. She's asked me for a Champions League semi-final, then given me £1 million to spend. And our youth facilities no longer rank where they once did in the footballing world. We need them improving again. But Mrs Wearmouth, it's your criteria. You want us to have the best youth system in the world. You've got to pay for it. She doesn't understand she has to pay for these things. We've still got superb youth facilities. We are, wow, how are we £50 million in debt? How has that happened? How has that happened? I don't really understand. That's not having the Champions League run, I guess. So we're way, she's reduced the wage budget. So, oh no, she hasn't. I got that the wrong way around. But still, we've got a few financial issues. And it's not like I went crazy. I know I said last year we signed Richard partly on the Never Never, but overall, we still actually don't have any transfer debt. There's more money owed to us from future transfers and monthly installments and things than we are out. So it's not like we're carrying a huge transfer debt that's causing a problem. So I don't really get how that's happened. Is it because our income has been drastic? I mean, it'll be exactly that. this season. So we've lost £10 million in prize money season on season. We've lost £10 million in Champions League money season. So that's a £20 million hole right there. Where else has there been big losses? Players sold. We sold 130 million last summer, only 100 million this year. I mean, to be fair, that one will balance out. But we've got to sell some players, I guess. And we know the two straight away we're going to start with trying to sell because they're the two that don't want to be here. Dominguez is already being linked in the media to a £75 million move to Tottenham. So I think the obvious thing to do is say, right, if the media are saying 75 million, I'm saying 75 million. Let's try and get this business done early. Offer him out for 75 million. See if there's any takers. Likewise with Jair, let's not mess around with keeping players here who don't want to be here. If Jair wants to go, yes, he's our best centre-back, but if we have a look at our team depth, it's not a position where we're particularly light on players. Behind Jair, we've got Hernandez, Bilbao, Armando, we've got Stuart Smith. I think those four are fine. Armando's just going to get better and better. I think we can afford to lose Jair, but I want a big fee for him. Well, I mean, yeah, okay, I've previously set it at 80 million. I don't know why or when or how, but let's say 80 million. See if we can get two enormous fees to start the summer off right. It's unlikely, but stranger things have happened. We certainly can't sign anybody until we sell a few players. And we're only on 30% of transfer revenue retained, and they're not going to negotiate it because of that. We're not signing Damien this summer, that's for sure. Well, I'll level with you. I wasn't expecting this. Barcelona have offered £80 million for Jair. It's going to be Ryan Lawson and Jair together at the back for Barcelona. I mean, I can't turn this down. You've seen the financial situation of the club. I've just logically talked through why losing Jair isn't a huge deal. So it looks like Jair's off to Barcelona, which immediately gives us £21 million of spensies and clears the debt. So in one transfer solves a major problem that we've got. And there's not been an announcement saying nobody wants Dominguez over. So we might be about to get another big offer for Dominguez. No, there you go. No one interested in Dominguez. Well, let's not worry. Let's use Jair to clear the debt and then renegotiate this. Apparently we're at risk of failing FFP. How? How is this happening? I mean, the Jair sale will fix that, but I haven't done this for once. I don't really get why we're in such a financial pickle all of a sudden. I've not done anything stupid. Genuinely, we have set ourselves up financially to be a late-stage Champions League team, and getting knocked out against Paris Saint-Germain has caused us all sorts of problems. That's why she's asking for semi-final now, because it's not that, Mrs Wearmouth, if you want a semi-final, you've got to back me for it. It's actually the reverse of that. She's saying to me, Kev, I already backed you for it. You've cost me a £50 million overdraft. Now you need to deliver it based on what I've already given you. Which is fair enough. This job just got harder. Well, the Jair deal is confirmed, but he doesn't actually go there until the 1st of July. So although we've got the transfer budget now, it doesn't actually fix the balance, which ruins my master plan of fixing that before offering Dominguez out again. I mean, we could still fix that before offering Dominguez out again and get an actual budget, but it means waiting until July before we can do anything, which I guess isn't a major issue. Despite our failure in the Champions League this year, I don't think there's a huge amount of work that needs to be done on the squad. If you look at the strength and depth we've got per position, we obviously don't need a striker. Chermont is getting better and better all the time on the wing. Pedraza on that side. We've got backups to both of them on each side. We've got lots of very good central midfielders with youngsters coming through. Likewise at centre-back, even without Jair. Same at left-back. Right-back, maybe we could do with a right-back. And we've got the best goalkeeper in the world. There's nothing obvious that screams, Kev, you've got to buy X player. I think we probably just reinvest in kids anyway. Maybe we just needed them all to get a little bit older. Right, I'm really confused because we've had our commercial summary come through and everything is up. Sponsorships, corporate. Match day revenue slightly down. There's no £30 million deficit here, though, or £50 million deficit. Broadcasting slightly down. Competition prize money is actually slightly up, which I don't understand. And these are the best shirt sellers. There's our new scouting budget. Mrs Wearmouth stuck 13.5 million in. Thank you, Mrs Wearmouth. And Unai Dominguez now wants to stay. So with Jair going and Font will play games next year, we're now at the point where with Mrs Wearmouth's money, there's still 80 million in cash. Got to hit that balance. It won't affect this, but it will certainly have a big impact here. That will solve this FFP problem where we've got a £40 million shortfall, meaning that we've got 28 million to spend and it's now a normal summer with nobody trying to force their way out of the club. I wonder if Dominguez might still be the guy to go, because if we have a look at that midfield again, what do we need all these midfield players? We've got Duffy, Dominguez, Font, Leica, Brewman. Maybe Brewman's not going to cut it. So we've also got Banny who can play there. Sanchez can play there. Brewman, maybe he's not going to make it. Wanted by 16 clubs, none of them top tier. That's quite illustrative, I think. He's our 6th best central midfielder. I mean, he's a good player. He's a very good player. But if we're keeping Duffy, Dominguez, Font and Leica, Duffy's only 28. Dominguez is 25. Leica's 23. Font is 22. It's not like Brewman at 21 is much younger than the people ahead of him. I think Brewman probably is the one who moves on. I think he's a spare player we've got in that position who's kind of not going to make it now. And we can probably do a similar process looking at our strikers. We know we want to keep Sonny. Banny has kind of exploded towards the end of the season. Although this guy thinks he's 4-star. Whoever's doing this doesn't. But I guess we trust this guy who's 12 and 12 and is literally called King. So that makes him better than Richard. Richard, we know, can be great. This guy here, what does he know? Richard is clinical. He's got 12 goals from 11 starts in the league, 16 goals from 17 starts in all competitions. Richard's only problem this year was fitness. So we know Richard is going to be great. So if we go with Richard, Banny and Sonny, then we can get rid of Carnevale. Because we have got some really good young strikers coming through. If we go to the development centre, is this the place? No, because they've obviously already moved them up. Let's just filter this by strikers. Why have we not got the full Kev view on there? Potential is what we want to be looking at. So we've got this guy, Perry Gill, who we brought in, who at 2.5 current ability is not a million miles behind and has bags of potential. But we've also got this guy, Matteo Bocciacini, who is a 4.5-star potential striker. We've got another 16-year-old coming in this summer. And we've got Leon Costa, who's a 4-star potential. If we get an offer for Carnevale, I think he goes this year. Because he's a bit meh, isn't he? He's fine. You don't win the Champions League with players who are fine, though. He's a world-class player, apparently. You seen that ever? Am I being a little bit harsh on him? Well, I hadn't actually completely decided what to do about the midfielders, and then Leeds came in, offered £25 million for Brewman. I said, give me 40 and we'll talk. And they straight away have offered £40 million for Brewman, our 5th choice midfielder. It's a bit of a risk letting him go because Dominguez is out of contract at the end of the season and doesn't want to discuss a new one. So although he's no longer on the wanting to leave list, he also apparently is not that into staying. So it is a little... If Brewman and Dominguez both go, we're going to have to replace one of them. But £40 million for Brewman seems a little bit too good to turn down. So I think in the circumstances, we say, off your pop. Sonny's just made his debut for Brazil, by the way. Those of you doubting him, 20-year-old Brazil international now. He's going to be a superstar. Another striker with just one name. The one-name strikers are where it's at. And Arsenal offering 53 million for Solazano. We've turned down 100 million plus for him in the past. That's what it's going to take to steal him away from me. Right, the Brewman deal's gone through now. So that fixes that problem and that problem. And we've still got the Jair money to add into that pot because that hasn't come in yet. So we're going to have 100 million in the bank, 37.5 million to spend. Is now the time to talk to Mrs Wearmouth. Come on, Mrs Wearmouth. No. I think I went a bit too soon. I should have waited for the Jair money. Can we ask for facilities? Nope. Too soon. Well, at least we've got a little bit of spensies now. Well, it is the 1st of July, so there's your confirmation Jair is gone, and the fans are grumpy about it. He had to. He didn't want to stay. And here is the gifts from the Kev of the past. Past Kev, we call him. This one actually isn't. This one I've just done now. After the Brewman deal, I thought I've had my eye on this guy for a little while. He was at Olympiacos. Similar situation to what both Leica and Brewman were. Attacking midfielder. We're going to convert him into a central midfielder, and he'll be fine as our 4th choice central midfielder for a little while. 9th choice central midfielder for a little while. It'll be 4th. While we convert him to central midfield, he's very quick and he's Greek and he's already played for the Greek national team. I don't think he's classes as a wonder kid, and we've overpaid for him. £20 million is massively overpaid, but just gets a Greek player into the team. And sometimes you have to overpay to get a Greek player into the team. These two are the two that I already knew were coming. These are the gifts from past Kev. Max The is now a 16-year-old German with 5-star potential. He's a striker, comes in from 1860 Munich. And the other one is Andrew Stanley, who's a 16-year-old American attacking midfielder with 5-star potential. He comes in from Werder Bremen. So let's just send them all on their language courses, welcome them all in. Beckless coming in, I think, does mean that we can now still look into moving Dominguez on, because Dominguez, when we just had the contract thing that you always get at the end of the season and it tells you whose contracts are expiring. Let's just check we've not got any registration issues this summer. We do not. Excellent. So we don't need to worry about non-EU players at the moment. In fact, there's room to bring one in. Could even be an overage one, which would be interesting. So we don't necessarily need to limit ourselves there. But the contracts thing, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Dominguez. Absolutely no interest in signing a new contract. So, I mean, it's a who's who of big European clubs and Tottenham there. So I think we're probably going to have to sell him. But even if we do, I think we're okay with Duffy, Font, Leica and Beckless as our 4. And obviously we'll get big money for him if it happens. I've offered him out for 75. No one's biting. I think I probably do have to be a little bit more realistic about pricing with him being out of contract in a year. In fact, there you go. I often do this. We'll steal a number from the media report. Barcelona linked with a £59 million deal. That becomes his new asking price. Let's offer him out for 59 million. It's still a big profit if we get 59 million for him. We spent 40 million on him. We've had a lot of good years out of him. I'd be happy selling him for 59 because with the Jair money that's now in as well, and even after signing Beckless, we've got a decent amount of money in the bank. It's not quite solved. I don't understand this. How has this become a thing? We don't have any transfer debt. I don't understand why everything's going so wrong financially. But there is money in the bank now, at least. And if we were to sell Dominguez, there's a little bit more money in the bank. Anything else happening here on the 1st of July, other than the fact that we've had offers for everybody all summer, as you'd expect? Tennessee, Jimenez, Hernandez, Smith, Williams, Font, Banny, Sonny. We're just turning them all down. We don't want to sell any of those players. And luckily, at the moment, none of them have got a grumpy on about it, he says, and then sees that Tennessee, I've got to dig my heels in on Tennessee. He's on a long contract. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Unless he requests a transfer, we've got to keep him. He's the best goalkeeper in the world. They're going to have to spend an absolute fortune, and he's going to have to submit a formal transfer request for me to even consider it. So quick 1st of July check on the squad situation as well. And we've had another one of our youngsters come back with a Spanish passport. So Oscar Jimenez, who is Colombian. We've sent him out to Villarreal for seeming like forever, but he has now got his Spanish passport. He's 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential. So not world-beating, earth-shatteringly awesome. However, we lost Calapitas, who was our backup right back, and he is good enough to slot in as Solorzano's backup. He's now got an EU passport, so he can just slot into the squad easily. So that's a position we don't need to go and strengthen now because we've got him back. But other than that, the squad is still looking very strong. Even if we were to lose Dominguez, I still think the squad is looking very strong. We could maybe do with someone else on the left-hand side because we've got Chermont as our best left winger and best left back. So he probably can't play in both positions at the same time. We've got Sanchez and Kansarovic, who've been here forever and never let us down. But it would be nice to have a 4-star player in one of those positions to allow Chermont to focus on the other one, which he can't do at the moment. Hernandez and Bilbao will be our 2 centre-backs with Armando and Smith as backups. That's fine. As always, it would be nice to get a backup defensive midfielder to Milo, but not essential because Dominguez, Bilbao, Duffy, Armando, they can all play there. We obviously don't want to have to rely on people who can play there, though. And striker, definitely don't need a striker. Still thinking could probably justify selling Carnevali, especially if we were to go out and buy a left winger. I think that does signal the end of Carnevali because at the moment he's quite handy because he can play out wide as well. But he's very much just becoming a utility man, backup kind of player. If Banny was another year into his development and we really knew he was going to be the thing that we wanted, we could go with him and let Carnevali go. But I'm still not completely convinced by Banny because his specialist position is deep lying forward, and whoever saw a good deep lying forward, I mean, he's not bad, is it? I mean, he's got all the attributes you need to be the advanced forward I want him to be, but that still worries me. It does worry me. So that's the situation as it stands currently. We've made offers to a load of old men on trials, but none of them are going to come in. One of them is Macias, who he had in the Chivas save. That's players going out. So lots of old men who used to be wonder kids, but none of them are going to be any good. We're just bringing them in on the off chance that they happen to still be 4-star players and we can get them in for a year. But at the moment, that's our summer. I hope the only player we sell on top of that now is Dominguez. We can get 59 million for Dominguez from Barcelona and then reinvest in a couple more younger players and maybe a left winger and then maybe sell. There's still stuff to do this summer, folks. We have our left back. I know I said I wanted a left winger. Couldn't find a left winger that had the correct amount of being less than £20 million, being a teenager and having 5-star potential. But we have got a left back. Not only that, he's a 6'5" left back who should probably be a centre back. But you know I'm going to play him at left back. He's just there to be basically Chermont is now a winger in my mind. It's Chermont and Sanchez on the wing. Kansarovic and Lutz are our 2 options at left back. So he comes in £17.5 million from Basel. Let's send him on a language course. Give him a nice little pat on the head. It's another 5-star potential player into the club, which is lovely stuff. And that's pretty much all our Spenzi's gone. Which, I mean, we're just waiting now to see if Dominguez goes. But I don't want less than we paid for. Similar to what you've heard this speech before about Duffy. I'll let him leave for free rather than let him leave for £15 million or something ridiculous like that. We're a big enough club now that £15 million doesn't really matter. I'd rather have him for another year because he's a world-class central midfielder. So I think it's worth keeping him, letting him run down his contract. And if we get through to the Champions League final, he'll probably sign a new one. Wanted by 21 clubs. I could be a bit ambitious there, aren't they? Bless him. But yeah, 59 million. That's his price, or he stays. It's not like he's pushing out. He's not like he's pushing to leave the club. So on that basis, I think we're all right. Fur wants to go out on loan, does he? I need to get him to a Spanish club because he's Mexican. That's the problem. We're getting offers from Mexican clubs for him that he wants to go to. I need to get him his Spanish passport. Tennessee's sticking around. Font will play more games. Tata wants to go out online. I've already accepted that. Tata was a flop. Down to 3-star potential. In fact, we could probably sell him. He's never going to be any good. Let's just get him gone permanently. Get a little bit more cash knocking about the place. And that is the squad when we get there. Ta-da. Well, now we definitely can't let Dominguez go early. I mean, that's a problem. A damaged spine for Leica, out for the next 5 to 7 months. That's the kind of thing that nips development in the bud, isn't it? That's a problem. And we have no money to go out and buy another midfielder. So we're just going to have to make do. Sonny, better than Jair and Ryan Lawson, confirmed. Lovely stuff. Wearmouth Cup, going much better this year. We're 1 win away from regaining our crown. Okay, so we lost our last match, but we have won the Wearmouth Cup anyway by beating Barcelona and Real Madrid. Sonny, the top scorer and the best player in the tournament. We've got a talent here, boys and girls. This has got to be his breakout year. This has to be his year. Medals. I can't believe there's medals for the Wearmouth Cup. But if you look at someone like Kansarovic's medal history, it's mentioned on here. 4-time, I put a "the" in the title that year. But he's a 4-time Wearmouth Cup winner. It's one of his 19 competition wins. I don't know why it counts, but it's got a history and everything. Absolute. I can't believe I had that 1 year where I called it the Wearmouth Cup by mistake. I don't understand why it's getting a history, but I like it. It's Champions League draw day, and we've played our first game of the season, picking up where we left off last season, thumping Olympiacos away from home. 2 goals from Sonny. This is Sonny's year. 4.5-star player. He's just signed a new contract. I don't think I mentioned he won the European Golden Boy last year as well. Sonny is not just another one of these players that I think is great because he's got a good star rating at my team. Sonny is genuinely awesome. Sonny is going to be a superstar. He's been playing for Brazil. I'm just checking I'm actually recording this because the button's moved in OBS. I am. Sonny's played for Brazil. Sonny's won the Wearmouth Cup 3 times and scored 2 goals against Olympiacos just then. Jimenez is now asked to leave. So he was a worthwhile investment. Spent all that money on him, less than 3 million, but spent that on him. Loaned him out to Villarreal 4 years, got him his Spanish passport. He's now got his Spanish passport and he just wants to leave. So I've accepted lots of offers for him. He's actually requested a transfer. There's no point keeping someone around who's requested a transfer. Everyone else I'm hoping to keep hold of. Pedraza and Tennessee are the most iffy ones there, but fingers crossed we will. But let's do our Champions League draw. We're seeded 2nd this year, which I guess is still preferable to being 3rd like we were the other year. Did any of the other Greek teams make it through? Greece. No. They're rubbish. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why Fenerbahce in the top. This is why we can't get European coefficients because no one else from Greece is even trying. Right. I'll have the group with Roma, please. We've got revenge to take on them from the other year. So we've avoided Manchester City and Real Madrid. That's quite nice. Fenerbahce would have been a nice group to be in. We've got Inter. We know Inter are good. They're the best team in Italy and have been for years. But this next batch of clubs, we just need to kind of avoid Dortmund, Monaco, Porto. I mean, to be honest, they're all 2nd tier. We can take any of this lot. Sevilla, easy. And then our final opponent, PSV. I mean, in terms of clubs with big history and famous names, it looks like an impossible group for us. But I look at the teams in that group and I think, you know what, we should be able to win it. Yes, Inter are the best team in Italy and dominate there, so it'll be tight between them and us, but we should at least make it through the group. We're not going to mess up this year. When was the last time we didn't make it through a group? We always make it through the group. We've got to be getting to the semi-final this year, remember. Our Champions League record does leave a little to be desired, apart from that 1 run to the final. Other than that, we've never been beyond the quarter-final, which we got in our first year. It's just a long history of getting knocked out in the first round. Oh. And there we have it. We've made it to deadline day. There was a little bit more business. We sold Jimenez, which I mentioned that I was going to be doing. We sold him for £10 million to Torino. And because we had no money, we just went out and got the best right back we could find for £4 or £5 million. 5.75 million quid. Jefferson Renan, he's Brazilian, he's 25 years old. He can actually play centre back as well. He's not a disaster. He's just going to be fine as a backup for Solazano. I don't know that we necessarily needed him, but he'll be fine as a backup player for us. The other deadline day news is I made a big decision that I might live to regret. If we win the Champions League this season, I'm a genius. We turned down multiple offers for Dominguez on deadline day, including the biggest one, which was a £71 million offer from Barcelona. 46.5 million up front, the rest on instalments for a man who's out of contract at the end of the season. If Leica hadn't have got injured, I absolutely take that deal. I'm now hoping that now the window's closed, give it a few weeks, clubs are no longer wanting him, at which point we might be able to offer him a new contract because it's the interest from other clubs that's stopping him sign a new deal. If they give up and move on now, we might be able to get him for a new deal, or he might leave for a free transfer this time next year after I've just turned down £71 million. Like I say, rolling the dice, gambling on a Champions League win. We need him because Leica's injured. If Leica is fit, then we go with Duffy, Font and Leica as our three. But we can't just go into the Champions League with Duffy and Font and then youngsters. It's a bad idea. You're going to tell me off for that one, aren't you? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.